Hey everybody, as you can see, I've been shopping, so stick around and I'll show you what I've got. Hey everybody, welcome back to Ozark Mountain Goats. If you're new to our channel, please hit that subscribe button and check out our playlist. Anyway, I'm Josie and I'm here in our lower level kitchen and wanted to show you today what I have been up to. Recently in a prepping video, I talked about wanting to put together an emergency medical pantry, I guess you would say. And so I have been out and hitting the stores and got a lot of stuff here that I'm going to get organized and go through the list with you. I went to Walmart, I went to Dollar General, I went to Everything's a Dollar, and I had some few things here at home. So I actually was adding up what I had spent the other day and I was kind of shocked. Because I got it over a couple of weeks time and I bought groceries while I was buying some of this stuff, so I didn't realize that I had spent about $250. There were a couple of higher ticket items, say in the $30 to $40 range, but most of the stuff, you know, was probably $5 or less. But it adds up when you got lots of bags. So anyway, I'm going to start getting this stuff organized, and when we're all done, I'll show you what I've got. Okay, before I go through my items that I just purchased, I wanted to show you what we did down here in my pantry. This is just a storage room in our basement. There are no windows. It's in an interior portion of the house, and it does have one wall that has concrete block where we have our canned goods. Keeps them nice and cold. But anyway, in one of my pantry videos, we had gotten some great feedback from you guys about putting in some shelves above the freezer. So Jim built those for me the other day, and that is where my medical supplies are going to go. So I'm still able to get that freezer door open, and that gives me a lot of needed extra space for all the stuff that I just bought. Okay, I've got my bins in place, and before we go through all the specific items, I want to talk to you about a few of the bigger things that I have and I'm going to show you. Now, this stuff is not anything that I purchased recently. It's stuff that we had, and actually, hello Scarlett. Scarlett says hello. Am I going to have to shut you out? For some reason when I talk, she gets excited. I guess she thinks I'm talking to her. Anyway. So anyway, as I was saying, these things are items that we've had for a while because of things that have happened in the past. One of them is a cane. When Jim had his back surgery, we bought this, and I think we paid $2 at a flea market for it. So it's a good find. Another thing that we got when he had back surgery was a walker. And this actually was paid for by insurance. But I see walkers all the time, walkers and crutches, in rummage sales or at flea markets. And so if you run across something, usually it's really inexpensive, like $5 or $10. You might think about picking something like that up because you just never know. And it sure is handy to have this stuff. And this folds up you know, to where it doesn't take up much space at all. So as you can see, you can just store that along the wall or whatever. And then the other big item that we got several years ago when Jim had knee surgery is these crutches. Again, this was covered by insurance at the time, but we've hung on to them just in case we need them again someday. So I'm going to move these out of the way and we'll start going through the bins. Well, I'm a retired nurse, and so I have a stethoscope and blood pressure cuff. Although I can't find my blood pressure cuff. It's around here somewhere, and I'll locate it eventually because I've used it since we moved here. But anyway, if you are not proficient at taking blood pressures, you know, they have those automatic machines, and these days they're relatively inexpensive. So you could always invest in something like that if you're interested. Okay, first on our list right here is some plastic wrap. Now I actually, in this storage thing right here, have several rolls of plastic wrap, but I wanted to keep one roll separate just so that it wouldn't be used up, and this can be used, you know, to wrap wounds and things. Then I have a whole box of this self-sticking wrap. You know, if you've had any blood drawn, used to they'd slap a big old band-aid on it that would rip your skin off and your hair out when you took it off. Well, now they use this self-sticking wrap to wrap wherever they've taken blood from. And so this whole box, gosh, I don't know, I got a dozen at least of them. And we also got them so that we could use them for the goats in case they had a wound that we needed to wrap up. Okay, bin number 1. I have got all kinds of bandages in here. I've got 2 big boxes of rolled gauze. I've got several boxes of just different sizes of band-aids. I've got more self-sticking wrap. I've got medical tape. I've got sterile pads. I've got, seems like I had some other pads. Oh, non-stick pads. So basically this bin is just all for covering wounds and things like that. One other thing I've got in here is a tape measure, because when I worked in the hospital and we had wounds that we were dressing, we always measured them so that we could, you know, see if it was expanding or getting smaller as it was healing. So it's kind of a nice idea to have a tape measure in case you did have a wound that you needed to keep a really close eye on the size of it. Next bin is more pads, and I have got a big bag of puppy pads in here because they're really, really absorbent, and it's kind of like the incontinence pads that they use in the hospital that they can slip under a patient. Well, if you've got an incontinent patient or an incontinent person, family member, or someone that has a bad wound that you want to try to keep the bedding dry, these puppy pads come in great. Also, I've got several different sizes and packs of feminine hygiene products because these also do really well for wound care, especially something that is bleeding more heavily or really seeping a lot. Okay, the next bin, I've got hand sanitizer, I've got disinfecting wipes, and I have this stuff again on my other shelving unit, but I want to have a dedicated bin for it. I've got masks, I've got gloves, I've got razors in case you needed to shave hair away so that you could get to and treat a wound. And this I ordered online. This is something that was a little more expensive. It was $30 or $40, I can't remember. But it's a suture kit. And there are instruments in here. There are blades. There are the surgical sutures. Everything that you need if you had to stitch somebody up. Hopefully that's not anything you would ever need, but having a medical background, I feel comfortable with this, and so that's why I got this. In my next bin, I've got instant cold packs, I've got disposable wipes, cotton balls, Q-tips. In this bin, I've got a variety of things that you would need if you had a sprain or a break. I've got a couple of different wrist supports. I've got 4 different finger supports. I've got ankle support, knee, and then I've got a baggie full of ace wraps. And one thing, I think we got this when Jim was in the hospital too with his back surgery, was a gait belt. I don't know if you've ever heard of a gait belt, but they are really handy if the person that you're trying to help is very unsteady on their feet. You can put this around them and get a hold of something steady so that you can help support them when they're ambulating. Okay, in this tub I've got alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, eye wash, ear wash, some antibacterial scrub, calamine lotion, Vaseline. I've got 2 things of triple antibiotic ointment, and I've got some hydrocortisone cream. One thing that I would like to get is some lidocaine cream. Lidocaine helps with pain and numbing, so that's something that I'll probably add to this. In this tub I've got a variety of medications. I've got ibuprofen, Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol, I've got antacid, aspirin, caffeine tablets. Maybe you need to stay awake for whatever reason. Tussin for chest congestion. I've got antidiarrheal, and I've also got 2 thermometers in here. Okay, next tub, I have got several different types of insect repellent. I've got several sunblocks. I've got some aloe that is for burn relief, and chapstick, so those types of things. All right, in this tub I have got lighters, I've got matches, I've got a flashlight and batteries, all stuff that I've got upstairs, but I want to know exactly where something is like this if I need it immediately in an emergency and I'm not hunting around for it. And I've also got some candles in there. Then in this tub, it's kind of a catch-all. I've got an empty machine. This gives stimulation to help with your muscle aches and pains. I've got a tablecloth because you may need something to put over some bedding to try to keep it dry, and so I thought that might come in handy. Some empty bottles just cause. Don't know what I would use them for, but if you needed to put some alcohol in something smaller and go somewhere with it, this would travel well. A can opener. I've got a couple different kinds of tape. Duct tape is great for everything, as we know. And some super glue. Super glue works great on little cuts and things like that. Then in my last little tub here, I've got all kinds of dental hygiene things, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a direct link between poor dental hygiene and heart disease. So I've got, gosh, lots of toothbrushes here, because as crazy as the world has gotten, you never know what family member, kids, grandkids, whatever, might show up at your house. And it's always good to have extra toothbrushes. Lots of toothpaste, mouthwash, floss, clackers, all that sort of thing. So I bought some labels, and I'm going to try to get my bins labeled so that I know what's in each one of them, and it'll be a little easier if I needed to grab something quickly. Anyway, I'll probably fill the top shelf with some more paper products, or I've got lots and lots of empty canning jar boxes that I don't want to get rid of, because as we empty the jars and eat the food and wash the jars, it's nice to have a box to put them back in to keep them safe, and they store better that way than just loose jars hanging around. So anyway, hopefully this has helped you, given you some ideas. This is, you know, not everything that you could possibly have, but I think it's a pretty decent variety. If you've got some ideas, be sure and leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And be sure and hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, we will catch you later.